Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning online. Go ahead, turn your cameras on. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Todd. Haley. Hey, I thought you'd be here today in person. Sorry for the extra security. For those of you who were here last week, you understand why there's now a waiting room. So we're trying to protect our eyeballs from that happening again.
Oh my.
But with that in mind, before we have a special speaker today, Mr. Todd Aaron Lay. He's gonna be sharing with us some tax strategy. Before we get into that, let's kick it off with some Tell Me Something Goods. So I know Monty has one. Monty, what do you got?
We got a new listing.
New listing. Congratulations. How'd you get that listing?
Got that listing off of an ad for Sell Your House Fast, cash offer. Went and visited with them, spent a little time, and explained to them the difference in what they'd get listing it and what they would get selling it fast.
Boom, love it. So they decided to list it. Awesome. Well, hey, that's a win. So that was from an ad, a paid ad, and then Mr. Jason, you're on.
So I capped a couple weeks ago.
Hey, that's a win.
Right.
So what exactly does that mean for those of us who don't know what capping is?
So that means I'm 100% commission until next April.
Next April, there you go.
And the other good thing is I had my event last week and we flew out Sean Kokoska and we had about 85, 90 people show up. So we had a great event.
Wow. Hey, you said you gotten some listings too, right? Or some deals?
Well, yeah, I have since capping, I've closed a couple, and I have one in escrow that's closing next week, and then tomorrow I'll be driving out to Modesto to help a family friend probably list his property.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. So where are you getting those deals from? Because everybody wants to know, like, how
the majority of my deals are from my SOI and my database, and then I've gotten a few recently from farming a neighborhood out where I've sold a couple properties, handing out just sold flyers.
Okay.
And so we actually just helped someone sell and purchase a new home out here in Rockland directly from those flyers. So
you're door knocking with the flyer?
We're not knocking, we're just putting flyers on the door. We're putting coming soon.
We didn't even knock, you just left it there?
Just left it there and she called. Yeah, so we're putting coming soons, just listed and just sold for every listing that we did.
Great.
There we go. Drew?
I got four going right now. Another couple that are people that have to buy in the next week.
And where are those leads coming from?
So some of my deals have come from Sphere, and the other ones are actually paid leads.
Paid leads.
Paid leads and follow up, staying on.
Use that script.
Yep. Script that we got from Coach Bill Pipes, and it's a killer.
Yeah. I've heard it from Luis and Mike, man. They're just like all about it.
Everyone on the team is scheduling appointments. We're calling every single day. We do role play. We've been coordinating with you guys too.
Yeah.
So they're role playing and then calling every single day. It's been working.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, big round of applause for Drew and his 4 dudes. And then Miss Alicia, I see you're in the room. What's happening in the wonderful world of lending?
So creativity, like that is the key right now. So I was super excited to give you guys some statistics on a couple loan scenarios I worked up, mainly because I'm getting a lot of turn down deals right now where lenders like just disappearing. And the agents are like, I haven't heard back from the lender. I'm like, that is traumatizing, call me. Because what happens is if they get stuck in the loan and they don't know how to solve it, they're literally just trying to brainstorm a solution. We have one right now. I flipped to a 5-1 arm, FHA. I kicked in about 1.5 points to get him to 3.625.
Wow.
So insanely low. Save the deal. But I wanted to give you guys an example of 2 purchase prices because you can talk about this with your sellers. So if you have a client looking for a payment around $3,100, if you go to $450 purchase price with a 3% seller credit, the payment's $3,100 with the minimum down on a 5-1 arm, 4.625. That's scenario A. Scenario B, we say, hey, Mr. Seller, can I get a 6% credit? It's $20,000 more in credit. 6% closing cost credit. The interest rate is 3.25. The buyer can now buy for $510. So they got $60,000 more in price for $20,000 more in seller credit. So, and the buyer's stoked. They're like, what do you mean? I was looking at $450. I can go to $510. 510 now, let's go, same payment. Does that make sense? Do you guys need me to explain that?
That makes sense.
So you have to get more comfortable with your conversations with your sellers and your listing agents. Hey, listing agent, I know you're listing this house for 510. I can push my borrower there. Instead of doing a pricing reduction, why don't you give me 20,000 extra in closing cost credit, and we can get the job done. So the max seller credit is 6% for FHA, 6% for USDA, 4% for VA. Then you can do 6% at an 80% loan to value conventional, but anything above 80% conventional is only a 3% seller credit. But it's the only way that buyers can pay more than 3 points to get their rate as low as possible is if it's on the seller's dime. So I'm trying to get seller credits like all the time, so I can drive that borrower's rate back into the 3s or low 4s. So in this scenario, it was a 4.625 going FHA rate, and it dropped them to 3 1/4.
Beautiful.
So that isn't enough to get the phone to ring, right? To market that, I don't know what is. But if you're the only one out there going, hey, I know a lender who has 3 1/4 based on a seller credit of 6%, the phone's gonna ring, right?
Yeah. Can I add to that?
Please
To put
do.
it into realtor, to dumb it down, okay?
Yes.
If you guys can think and look at a property, you got a buyer, right? And you can look at a property, it has been on the market for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, right? And you could look at it and be like, would they come down 20 grand? Most likely, yes, right? So instead of the idea of just putting in 20 grand less, think of it as we can get 20 grand of seller credits, right? And you will save your client so much more money than just getting them to reduce it 20 grand,
Yep.
right? So that's a really good, that's a big one.
I just
right?
wanted to give you guys a mathematical perspective. It's about 60 grand more in price for the borrower to get the seller to kick back 20 of that profit.
Is that 3 1/4 still on the 5-year?
It's a 5-1 arm. It's a 5-1 arm FHA with 3.5% down.
What's the cap?
2, 2, and 6. So it's 6% higher than the start rate, but nobody really goes into it with no one's going to keep it past I would say the next 24 months, guys. At some point, rates will be back down to 3.875 at least a few times. So we're going to see this. There's going to be dips for them to let people back into the market who've all been sitting on the sidelines. And so I keep telling all the buyers, like, the 5-year is enough time to allow you to pay the principal down and then switch to a conventional. If you're not going to switch it to a 30-year, you can at least switch it to a conventional, which has the removable mortgage insurance. So I give them an exit plan, but you don't go into it thinking we're going to just ride this out for the adjustable period. It's too risky for the client. But the truth is, when it comes to ARMs, they only change once a year or once every 6 months, and they get a 60-day warning ahead of time before it changes. Hey, it's about to change, here's what it's going to become. Do you want to refi or do you want to float and let it ride out? It changes once and that lasts for another 6 months. So it's not like changing every month and really, being too scary for them. They have plenty of time to get out of it.
Alicia, if they did want that fixed rate, how much would that change it? Would it be instead of 60,000, it would go up only 40,000 if they wanted it fixed instead?
No, because what we're comparing is, let's say, a rate that costs 3 points to a rate that costs 6 points. It'll be a very, very similar comparison.
Okay.
Your start rate is going to be higher.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
I'm getting some 30 years down into the 4s, no problem, again, using points.
Thank you.
So I just like, the reason I like the 5-1 is it's just, why not have the cheapest payment? If rates are predicted to go down in the next 24 months, I'm not going to stress out about 5 years from now. I'm going to stress out about the next 24 months. So a lot of my FHA buyers, they're selling, and some of them are selling and they haven't yet paid down their debt and their credit just sucks. And I'm like, hey, here's a solution, here's a Band-Aid. So it's a way to just keep them moving forward. Because FHA will let you do 580 credit scores. You can get in the house and get them in and get them moving. And then great, 7 months from now, after you've made your payments, all your debts are paid off, we have a better credit score, then we can switch.
And then do you offer a streamlined refinance if they refinance?
Absolutely, yeah, we offer all refinances.
Can you
for
explain
all.
what that is so people understand?
So the good thing about the government loans, like let's say the 5-1 ARM, is you can streamline and not need an appraisal if you want to refinance down the road. So FHA removed the risk of and the fear of, what if values tank and I can't refinance, I'm so scared. Well, great news. FHA will let you refinance without an appraisal. So no appraisals are required, you just have to make your payment on time for 12 months, and then they will allow you to streamline into the 30-year fixed option. So even if you can't get out of it and get into conventional, you can get out of the ARM and get into a fixed at any point during the 5-year period of time. And no income is required, you have to have a job, but you don't have to prove what you make, and no appraisal is required. So I tell clients, like, the government doesn't want your house, trust me, they want to help you. And even if, God forbid, you get into a hardship, they're gonna modify you, they're gonna work with you. Government loans, more than any, aren't gonna prey on you to try to get equity. Conventional banks might, see opportunity, but not the government. So it helps them to feel more comfortable going into it. But I don't know about you guys, but I have seen more people come out of the woodwork that are special needs than I've seen in a very, very long time. The one thing I love about this market is these clients have need. Where before we had all the clients who they want to do something, they don't have to do something. Now I'm getting everybody that's like, I will take whatever you've got, duct tape this thing together and get me a loan. So there's a lot of buyers. I mean, all my buyers are back from the last 2 years, like terrorizing me in a good way. But just know they're there and they are shopping and they are hungry. So it's kind of exciting.
Absolutely. Any questions for Alicia? Awesome. Yeah, so when Alicia's saying buyers are back, over 3,000 houses sold last week on our MLS. So properties are selling, right? A house sells every day, except on Saturday and Sundays, but a house sells every day, right? So
And
just keep that in
everybody
mind.
pay attention to that right there, okay? Because what we have really been hunkering down on and learning in our scripts is putting facts in there, right? And to sit there and be like, well, did you know that 3,000 houses sold last week to someone that's like on the fence of buying or not? You get that third party validation, right? Where they're like, wait, did I just get, so 3,000 people locally bought? Okay, am I missing something?
Yeah.
Right? Why are they not as scared as I am? Right? And then you get the people there, so they're like, okay, well, let's at least meet.
Herd mentality. Yep. All right. Well, Mr. Todd Aaron Lay has been waiting patiently. We were waiting to fill up the room because realtors are always on time.
Love it.
And
Love it.
So real quick, I got a little bio for you.
Sure thing.
This man is incredible. There's a reason why he's on this call. Brent is very, very picky about who he allows in terms of CPAs to speak at the team meeting. This is the only guy, and the reason why, he's the founder of Simple Back Office. He's been doing this for 17 years, and he works with Big Daddy Brent Gove. So with that, I'll let you take it away, Mr. Todd Aaron Lay.
All right, great. Hey, good to see everybody. Hey, Drew. I see Barry Mathis in the house. I thought I saw Steve Hillier as well. I'm not sure. Did I see Steve in there?
No,
Maybe off to the side?
No,
Nope.
he's not here today.
Okay. We've got a couple other people in there. Well, what I'm looking forward to share with all of you here over the next 15, 20 minutes or so, I've got some really good examples we're going to walk through. I know that we're kind of in an adjusting economy, everything of where we are, and what I'm going to share really matters most of how we're going to be handling our cash. And I think that while a lot of us have done really well financially, are in the midst of actually still growing our businesses and things of that nature, what's critical is actually knowing your money. And it's, I think that some of you may in the room actually be aware of actually, his name is Peter Drucker. He often would say that you can't go ahead and manage what you don't measure. And it comes down to knowing that with your money and your financials. So today, I'm not going to go super deep. We're not going to go over tax strategies or anything like that, just to give a little bit of correction of what was shared up front. But I've got some really good fundamentals that you can take away from today and start implementing if you choose over the next 30 days. So does that sound fair?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this to share out. on my screen. Let's see what I've got here. Okay, give me just 1 second. And I'll bring this over here. One more moment. Okay, is that actually showing on your side?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So the point is why actually know your numbers? And some of the biggest reasons is upfront, if you're just staring at a bank balance every single day, looking at your Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or US Bank, whatever the case is, it's super critical to know that you may actually have a whole lot more money than, or actually you may have less money for that matter than you really realize. And I say that specifically is because bank balances don't tell you what is previously committed for insurance, taxes, repayments, maybe on EIDL loans and things like that. And so in our background and what we've done is for the last 17 years is we put together financial accountability for our clients. And we actually go through, handle all the monthly accounting. And at the end of the month, what we end up doing is, as you can see, and I think, are my markups actually showing up on this slide deck right now?
Super tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny because we
You're
see
in
two slides.
You're in
Yeah.
presenter mode instead of playing the actual slide.
Say that one more time.
You're in presenter mode instead of actually running.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Let me see if it actually changes. Let me see if I can look at one other option here. Let me see to make that a little bit bigger for us. Okay, and how about that? Is that any better or worse?
That's okay. Still not.
Let's go like this. Hold on 1 second. Let me try one other piece. And that is not it. Let me try one more piece here. Okay, how about that? Now, I should be able to zoom that in a little bit better. I'm not sure if that helps or not. The idea is not necessarily to read the numbers, but just to go ahead and highlight to see that there are markups actually on here. So are we able to see that a little bit better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So just as an example, very basic business is that you really have two core financial reports for running a business, and that's going to be a profit loss, otherwise known as an income statement, and a balance sheet. Just those two. And what I find is that many business owners, either they don't have financials to look at, and they're often scrambling to get something put together to even just file their taxes at the end of the year, or often when you're trying to apply to get a loan, you need to be able to substantiate your income, and that's backed with tax returns and so forth. And a lot of times this kind of information just isn't readily kept up with or made available by the business owner. And so the folks that we work with, what we end up doing is we have a conversation every single month, and we actually go through the numbers together. What do we see is too high? What's kind of moving in a different direction other than what we want to? Is what we're out there doing really producing the kind of revenue or the return on the effort that we're trying to produce? And so with this, I've seen a couple of different things show up in our conversations, and that is, I've had people say, really, that's I don't remember spending $783 at Walmart in Texas, right? So, and then only to find out that, the instance is, honey, were you in that conference? Did you guys go pick up some supplies or something like that? No, we were in Charlotte, not Texas. Oh, okay. And sometimes you miss fraud that's staring right in front of you. And sometimes it falls between the cracks. And so there's opportunities like that that's able to discover. But again, it's really difficult to go ahead and improve a scenario or an area or a leaky boat syndrome, so to speak, if you don't really know what's actually showing up each month. So that's what I look at least on the income statement. Same thing on the balance sheet. A lot of times what we want people to know is, where are we with cash? And one of the parts that's important to note is every single month, what ends up happening is that I see business owners, what they'll end up doing is, if there's cash in the accounts, they'll spend it. And so, or I've seen family members that have access to the accounts reach in and grab it as well. And so the mindset behind it, what I want to encourage you to think about is that in your accounts, I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes, you're going to want to have like 4 bank accounts. You might think, my gosh, that's ridiculous. 4 bank accounts, I can barely manage the one. I'm going to share with you and pull back the curtain on how you can actually manage your cash way more effectively by segmenting into these 4 buckets. I'll talk about that again in just a second. But the idea here is that at the end of each month, you want to have some targets as to what I refer to as your new zero, your minimum account balance, right? So everybody's business is going to be completely different, whether you're pulling 6 figures a month, 7 figures a month. Got some clients in Los Angeles that are 7 figures a month. But what you end up looking at is maybe your operating account, you don't drop below $5 grand. Like the end of the month, let's say end of July was coming up, you've got, say for instance, $5,800 or so in there, and your new zero that you're committed to keeping cash in the business is $5 grand. And so if you have an opportunity, you've got some bills or some things you need to do, maybe you have that personal commitment that you wait 2 days, 3 days to say, I need to make sure my closing bank statement shows $5 grand on it. And it's just little things like that, because here's why is we need to make sure that we leave enough meat on the bone to start the next month. And so a lot of times if we drive down our account balances to like less than $1,000 or less than $10,000, if we're running a business is doing $500,000 a year and we have less than $10,000 at the end of the month in our accounts, we're going to continue to butt up against cash management problems, payroll issues, and so forth. So any comments on that particular segment, just on minimum account balances?
I like the new zero concept.
Okay. Really simple, and it is. It's really more than anything, it's a mindset. When you apply that principle, I'm just going to highlight a couple of clients here that we've worked with. Has anybody ever been to Device Brewing in Sacramento, any one of their multiple locations or restaurants? Anybody been out there?
Yeah, we're seeing some heads nod. Cindy's super
Okay. Okay. So just to give you an example, we've been working with Ken for several years, and one of the challenges is how do you run a multi-location operation and be able to hold restaurant managers accountable for food costs and labor if you don't have your financials broke up to be able to track accountability for each location? It's one thing you could say, I've got financials for the entire organization. We made this, we had expenses here, this is what we net for the whole company. But how are you able to manage effectively in each one of these and then also have it all tie back to a corporate office? So that's just kind of an example of some of the stuff that we've been able to help support people with. I want to move back over to the 4 account management principle here. Now, if you'd like to get this as far as PDF, you can text me. I've got a way to contact me at the end of today. You could go ahead and request a copy of this PDF. I can get it sent over to you. But essentially, it's this pretty simple. You're going to have an operating account at your bank. Let's say you bank at Wells Fargo. You're going to have an operating account. It's a checking account. You're also going to have, if you're incorporated and you're an S Corp, you're going to be on payroll. If you're not, you're supposed to be, okay? And so you're going to have a payroll account, and that is going to be for your wages, payroll taxes, and so forth that are going to go in and out of that. You may only have 5 or 6 transactions that go through the payroll account, but I'm going to tell you the secret of why you need to separate payroll from operating. Touch that in a second. The next account you need to have in place is a tax savings account, okay? And the last one is a core capital savings account. So just to go back to the very beginning, operating account is simply all the revenue, commissions, side hustle, anything else, money that you have for your business is all going to go into the operating account, okay? And then what's going to happen is when you pay yourself, however you structure yourself on payroll, be it on the 1st and the 15th or the 5th or the 20th of the month, you're going to want to transfer money out. Let's say, we'll just use small numbers, but let's say you need to transfer out $2,000, okay? Taxes, everything all in, you need to transfer $2,000 out of your operating account to the tax savings, or actually to your payroll account. Reason being is, I've seen too many people think they've got more money than they really do. They go ahead and make a commitment on a new vehicle, a commitment to pay down a loan faster than they were expecting to, only to find out payroll comes out of that operating account, plus the taxes. And now all of a sudden, now we've tripped NSF fees coming through the bank, and we did because we didn't plan ahead, okay? We eliminate all of that if we're actually planning properly and we put all the payroll and tax into, or the payroll into the payroll account, okay? So that's really the first step. The next is that from your accountant or CPA who's handling your taxes, every year when they file their taxes, like for 2021, on your personal, they're gonna give you tax vouchers. Now, the interesting thing, most tax firms, they'll send this to you, but they won't remind you of when it's due, nor will they really tell you that the voucher was included in your tax return, okay? So what we like to do is we like to know what those tax vouchers are for your quarterly estimates. So if you've got an S Corp in California, you've got corporate taxes that you have estimates for, and you've got personal estimates. We like to plan out what those are, when they're due, and then what we'll end up doing is every month when we go through your financials, we know we'll take out maybe 8 or 10% of whatever your net was before you spend it. And then whatever we estimate what it would be for IRS, we take that out of, like, say, for instance, the month of July before you spend it, and we move that over into your tax savings account. So that way, when the money's due, you don't pull money out of your operating account. You don't find yourself in a financial whiplash of going, oh my God, I got to come up with $5,000, $6,000, but now I've got to come up with payroll, or I've got this commitment for advertising or insurance. No sweat. You just go over there and you go to FTB, and you just upload your ACH or your banking routing number, and you're able to go ahead and take care of the tax payment, like, without a problem. Super simple. Been doing it like this for years with clients. Works really well. The last part is when we had the health crisis come about, and like everything shut down within weeks, and nobody was prepared for it. What I found is those that were mindful of having minimum account balances that knew zero, that was super helpful. But the other is actually making sure that we had reserves. So critical. Not the HELOC, the home line of the house equity line of credit, not the business line of credit going into further debt, but I'm talking about cash set aside, where we're looking at equivalent to 2 months worth of operating expenses in your business, including payroll, okay? That it might take you 6 months, it might take you 2 years to be able to build this up. But I don't know about you guys, but for me, I hear it all the time. Instances like, well, sales are down, Todd, and I didn't take a paycheck this last month. So my response is, did you not go to Costco? Did you not pay your mortgage? Did you not put gas in the car? Like, what did you do if you didn't take a paycheck? And the answer is simple. We use credit cards, or we went into debt. And I like to be a very conservative approach, and I like to see that we've got at least reserves. If we need to, we lean into that. We transfer over a little bit from our core capital account, into operating, get us through that slow period, whatever it might be, for 30, 45 days, and then we build it back up, but nothing skips a beat. We pay our house, we go to Costco, and the kids are still going to soccer practice.
Hey, Todd, can I give you a reference real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
For everybody. So Todd Handel is my CPA as well, okay? To be a little just transparent and vulnerable with you guys. Because of him, I was able to get through, I don't know for you guys, if you guys have felt the hurt of this last 2 months of the market, right? But things slowed down for me and my team. But I was able to continue going and get through and have multiple escrows now about to replenish, right? But because of how Todd had me set it up, I was able to get through everything without going to credit cards, without going to anything, and changing the way that I would run my business, right? So because of him, how he did this, which to me was very stressful, but he always walks me through it, right? So I just wanted to say thank you, Todd.
Awesome. Hey, you're very welcome. Drew, you're great to work with. Thanks for sharing that. So what I've seen though along the way, just really simple 4 pieces, and I think that another component of this is that whether it's me or somebody else or a financial advisor or somebody that you have a financial conversation with, I can't encourage you enough to at least be in that conversation at least once a month or maybe every 2 months, but it really needs to be frequent and something that, you know, even if it's not looking great, to actually be courageous in that moment and actually still face it and go, okay, it is what it is. As Robert Kiyosaki says, our bank statements and financial reports are nothing more than a report card of how we're doing in the marketplace. And if we see what it is, it's an area for improvement. So I can't stress that enough. Some other parts, well, before we're going to be wrapping up here in just a few short minutes. I just want to ask any comments based on what I've shared up to this point. Yes, I see somebody online here. It's raised their hand. I don't see your name. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi there.
I'm Tracy Dobbins, and the Dave Ramsey approach for your personal is 4 to 6 months savings. What's the difference between that and what you're talking about 2 months worth?
So what I'm referring to is this is for a business, not personal, but there are attributes of what I actually do teach that is very transferable over to a personal side. And Dave Ramsey, of course, everybody may be aware of, he's got the multiple tiers of baby steps and so forth, and having an emergency account of $1,000 and so forth. That's separate from today's conversation. For this is having reserves equal to 2 months. And the reason for that is you could be looking at a business that has, let's just say an example of $10,000 a month of expenses that it needs to carry. Well, if you've had roughly $20,000 of liquidity, then you're able to seamlessly continue without any hiccups or bumps. It becomes more of an inconvenience than a train wreck in your business.
Todd, I'm going to do the opposite of what the smart guy behind me did. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you the downside of not doing something like this. So
okay.
I had a team with $610,000 worth of GCI last year.
Yep.
No reserves this year. When the downside came, I had to let staff go. And it's not because I don't know how to run a team or don't know how to sell real estate. If you're not preparing financially, no matter how good you get at the sales side, you will blow through it. We also all know someone who at a certain time was able to blow through whatever he made. Now that he's had Todd in his life for many, many years, I mean, you cannot out earn poor financial management, I guess is what I'm trying to say, at any level, whether it's the
100%
operator or whether it's a $1 billion team leader. You cannot out earn poor financial management.
For sure.
That's a really good point. You know, a conversation I had with one of our clients that is actually directly involved with the supply chain debacle that's been going on with the Port of Los Angeles. This individual's company is grown by 300%, But what I've also ended up having to look at is that the numbers get bigger, but how many of you have ever heard somebody who said, we had our biggest month, our biggest year ever, and we filed bankruptcy? You ever heard of that?
Yep.
Well, I mean, I see black and white the numbers, and I could tell you why, and I can also see the story that leads up to it, and when it's ignored with it, and it's not looking at a bank balance, and so it has to do with liquidity, reserves, timing. Don't do everything all in 1 month, things like that, and so. Whether you got a business, you're doing $100, $150, $500,000 a year, or you're running with the big dogs at 15 and 20 million, there are very transferable insights that show up along the way. So great comments. Let's keep going here. I want to be sensitive with everyone's time. I also want to talk about Little Manila Rising is a nonprofit that came to us out of Stockton. And what was really interesting is Dylan, who was referred to us from another client in Vacaville, he was actually going, as he's trying to grow everything, he was watching YouTube videos on QuickBooks and QuickBooks tutorials and late nights away from his family, trying to figure all this stuff out. Finally, his operations manager says, dude, you got to stop doing this stuff. Like, we need you out front, leading the charge, helping us get grants, helping us with funding and so forth. And anyhow, like 18 months later, they also had tripled their organization. He just took a 4-month sabbatical and let his team now run the business. But we now work directly with his team, and he's not hands-on trying to figure out YouTube videos on QuickBooks. So super helpful. We talked about minimum account balances. One other part here I think that's vital is if you do have a corporation, an S Corp, can I just see a quick show of hands? Anybody in the room who is an actually incorporated S Corp? Okay.
What about LLC filing as an S corp?
It's equal, same thing. Okay. So what happens here along the way is that there's 3 different words. They're all virtually the same, but you either have owner's draw if you're a sole proprietorship. You're going to take a distribution if you're incorporated as an S corp, and if you're a C corp, you take a dividend. All of it means I'm taking money out of the business, okay? But the problem is that most people take it out in the wrong order, okay? And that is we want to make sure that the priority should be paying taxes or planning for quarterly estimates first. We already talked about that in the first area. The other is addressing debt, and that is the business line of credits, which is very addictive for a lot of people. So we want to make sure that we throttle down and keep a pulse on that. The other is capitalizing those reserves. Once we've got those 3 areas met, I am going to kind of throw in a little subtext in there, and that is minimum account balances. And only then go out and get the cool car. Then go out and do the major add-on to the house or whatever it is, the around the world trip, first class, $50,000, whatever it is, like go crazy, right? But the challenge is most people flip this on its head and take the distributions out first and then are scrambling with debt and taxes. So this has been really key. And I think for a lot of people, maybe they know this intuitively, but they're just caught emotionally at that moment and react, counterproductively to what they're trying to achieve. Okay. The last part, we've already talked about the core savings. We've already mentioned that and so forth. I think you guys may even know Gove Landscaping out in El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park. We've been working with them for the last couple of years and getting things right for them, and continue following the principles that I teach has had a wonderful impact in helping create alignment and also a path of where they're trying to go as well. And they've had an amazing last couple of years, and it's just been great to go ahead and bring in some of these new new areas that I teach to help complement what they're trying to achieve. So, and I think that kind of brings us to the last part here. If you'd like to reach out and get in contact with him, I'm going to open up for some questions. I'll have time here at the end if it's okay with Johnny. But if you'd like to contact me in one of three ways, you can just send a text to area code 916-634-1090. Just send me your name and email address, and you can just go ahead and put 1 if you'd like to connect with me and schedule a call. Somebody from my team will get coordinated. 2, if you know somebody that needs a little bit of help in this area, just kind of getting things back on track, and just go ahead and put 2 in the text. Or 3, if you'd like to go ahead and get one of the PDFs that I shared here today, whether it was the Fantastic 4 on the 4 buckets to manage your cash, or the Cash Flow Navigator on prioritizing when to take out money out of your company. So let's see here. I think that's it. I do have something here as far as identifying who's a good fit for us and so forth. I'm not going to drill down into that so much. Johnny, how are we doing on time?
Dude, we got plenty.
Okay.
So I have some questions. Who has some questions in the room or online? Go ahead, put them in the chat box. Unmute yourself and chatter. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, just have you ever, Todd, have you ever looked at like general operating percentages? So like how much should an agent be spending on, how much does the average agent spend on marketing, on gas, on, have you looked across your agent portfolio and built some, general rule of thumb category spend? Does that make sense?
It does. I haven't necessarily, because here's the thing that's a little bit different. You're going to have the individual agent that might be running that more of a sole proprietorship, if you will. They might be generating 250 to 4 or like upwards to maybe 500,000 in commissions in a year. I've seen some of those this last year. You'll have those. Costs are relatively low. Okay. Depending on who they're, whether they're with EXP, Keller, and so forth. So I've seen that, their transaction coordinator fees and so forth, but then you're going to have somebody at a much larger place that actually is running a team that might have 5, 6 producing agents, more of a production team. And so it's difficult to kind of get a side-by-side, but if I was to look at somebody's financials, we could simply look at what the trend has been quarter by quarter and get an average, and then benchmark what that would look like for moving forward. And then we could look to either look at trimming it down closer to, or putting it within a range of say 5 to 8% of a certain area that we want to spend, so we can get a little bit better of a budget. That might be something that we could look at doing instead.
Got it.
So Todd, I spend a lot of money, or pay a lot of people through Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, things like that. When you're doing that, like how do you get that into QuickBooks?
So what we
generate a report.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, you up front. I heard part of what you had said. What was your name?
I wish, my name's Krista. I wish Cash App and Venmo would let you generate a report from the app, but I have to manually do it. I hate it.
Yes. So there's, so what we've done with some of our clients is that we would actually have like direct logins or guest logins to their PayPal account or their Cash App or Zelle or whatever the case is. And in some of them, not all, you're able to export a basically an Excel report. You could go ahead and export out to. Sometimes you can import that into QuickBooks. Other times, unfortunately, it has to be what would be considered a manual journal entry on our part. Like we'll have the actual CSV file or the export out of the app itself, whatever it might be, and then we're gonna have to manually enter the journal entry directly into QuickBooks and code it accordingly. And the other thing, much in those Cash App scenarios, is very synonymous to when a purchase is made at Costco or in Amazon. You see hey, I spent $1,783 at Costco. And we know how much of that was household food, how much of that was this, how much was that. Oh, and by the way, then we bought an iPhone, or we bought this, that was a part of it. So we have to have a copy of that receipt, and then we have to journal entry or extract out the actual business expense of what that is and manually put it in the books if the purchase wasn't done separately. So
it's all business. It's all business.
It's all business.
You don't have to do that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. What? We've got a couple more. Go ahead.
Hey Tom, it's Tom Costello. I'm probably,
Hey Tom.
Nice to meet you. I'm probably the poster child for non-brilliance in the numbers area. Finance is good, but I don't know how that goes together. Anyway, my question is, on the one hand, I hear what you're saying about your client who was trying to do a deep dive and educate himself on YouTube and about QuickBooks and things like that. My temptation is to do that because I want to have a working knowledge. Yet on the other hand, I see the value of just staying in my lane and hiring a professional to do that. It feels like I need to have some proficiency. For example, when I go out to restaurants, when I spend business expenses, I need to keep track of that. They're usually on the same credit card, but not always. So how do I balance having enough working knowledge to keep track of my receipts and keep my expenditures so that when I do go to my tax guy, I don't look like the guy with Post-it notes in the shoebox. And yet not do so much that I get out of my proficiency and waste time doing what I'm not good at. Where's the balance there, if that makes sense?
It is. And so the trick here is the point of capture. You're the one, whoever it is the one that's swiping the card. And sometimes what I look at doing is sometimes maybe you've got 2 Bank of America cards, and in the moment you're at Petco or wherever you are, and you're just like, oh, I gotta go ahead and you're at the checkout and you pay, and you just grab the wrong card. Little things. I mean, you could put a strip of blue painter's tape across the top just to mark it, to say, and business only, something as simple as that. Or don't keep your business card with you, things like that. But you want to be able to segregate at the point of capture is the best way to do it. If you're recording receipts and things like that, there are it's escaping me at the moment, but there's like receipt apps that you can take pictures of things and so forth. But for what I would just look at doing is keep separate accounts, don't commingle funds. Even if you're a sole proprietorship, just keep it all separate. And at the very least, you've got bank statements at the end of the month, end of the year, that you could grab that stack and go, okay, these are the deposits, these are all the expenses. I didn't keep books monthly or quarterly, but at least I know my money's clean from personal to business. That's one way to do it. The other part is that I would look at the fine line of understanding, having a high level approach. What we do with our clients is I tell them, I said, you need to know how to drive the car. You don't need to understand what's under the hood. You don't need to look at how to do a journal entry and like something to do, whether it's a particular asset class or something like that, or equity. You don't need to deal with any of that kind of stuff. It's just, you need to simply know, am I generating, am I profitable? Am I not? Is my cash going up or down? And I think that's, in essence, that translates into your net worth at some point. But I think that's really all you kind of need to know. And is there leaks in the boat anywhere? It's super easy. And each of your line of work, meals, by the way, you can't write off entertainment anymore, thanks to the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. That's eliminated anymore. But meals, you're still good with meals. But you might want to just look at, okay, what's my budget? How much am I going to be spending per month, per year, or per deal on meals? And that way it doesn't become an all-you-can-eat buffet. Sometimes, realistically, for a sole proprietorship, I see people spending like $8,000 and $10,000 a year on eating meals out with clients, but their business definitely does not warrant that kind of behavior.
Todd,
So,
Todd, I got a question for you. Do you do like monthly reviews with your clients so they can see
we
like, go over
do.
the P&Ls and all that? So
We
if you do
do.
that, so, Tom, that's what's helped Valerie and I a lot is you learn month over month and you start learning how to drive the car.
Another thing you can do is QuickBooks Mobile.
Yeah, QuickBooks Mobile.
You can tie your credit cards to that, and then once a week you go down and go swipe left, right, business or personal.
That's right.
All your credit card expenses are automatically imported into the.
Really should have a separate card for business.
Or you guys work your faces off, and then you hire Todd to take care of the rest.
That's true.
You can do that too. And I'll share this with you, like, you know, if we were to handle anybody's stuff on a smaller scale, even to look at, and even if we met every 4 months, like once a quarter for, you know, a short 30-40 minute call to kind of look at, hey, this is, you can see all of my markups on this particular income statement here. Even just to have a productive, meaningful conversation to say, hey, am I heading in the right direction? Am I not? What should I kind of course correct? I think just having an open conversation can bring so much value to people. And so especially, I like the idea if you've got QuickBooks on your phone and you're handling that administratively yourself, I think that's a great place to start. And then to meet with somebody kind of throughout the year, just as a follow-up, I think that's a great direction.
Cool.
So good.
All right, and so one more time, the best way for us to get a hold of you is through the phone number, 916-634-1090.
Yeah, so that is a phone number specifically for texting. I'll also leave my email address as well. It's Todd, TODD, at simplebackoffice.com. Todd at simplebackoffice.com. And just I pulled up on the screen here is we're all in the business of networking, things of that. And so for me, many years ago, I came up with this distinction. And the distinction is to identify who is my client. So getting a firm grip on what the profile of that client is, but also who is out every day talking to my client, who's in a money conversation with my client. The same thing goes for you guys. Appraisers are out there, loan officers are out there, everyone's talking to your client. I just have a different clover, so to speak, of what mine is. But you know, if I was to highlight, we work with a lot of clients that usually around 450,000 to 7 upwards to 10 million in annual revenue. They usually have between 3 and 25 or more employees. And I put the age in there as well, because usually we work with those that it's not a brand new business. They know what they're doing. They've had some challenges finding the right people to support them, and usually then they get referred to us, and that's where it starts to fit like a real glove. So that's just identifying referrals and kind of a profile of our client is what that looks like. Pull this back up on the screen. This way here, best way to go ahead and contact me would be here. And that's it.
Awesome. Everybody give a round of applause, Todd. Thank you so much for hopping on. We're going to share this online. It'll be on YouTube as well.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Johnny. Great seeing everybody. Take
Bye.
Care. Bye, everyone.
That was freaking awesome. Yeah, I want to hire Todd. That's all I'm going to do.
He's so good.
So real quick, we got a couple minutes left. There are a couple guests in the room. Do you wanna hop up and say something? Say hi. All right, everybody. This is Miss. Go ahead. I'll let you introduce.
Jen Finley, North American Home Services. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yes.
But we are your inspection vendor, so the termite home, pool, roof, collateral, all the same day, same time.
And is there a veteran thing too?
VAs, we give free termite on the slip of the home, so should we call our office and tell them you're a VA buyer and we'll hook you up.
Do you know the owner of that company?
And if we want to get a hold of you, for those of did you bring cards?
I brought
or-
cards, I'll pass it my cards.
Okay, all right, fantastic. All right. So, thought Cindy was gonna say something. Cindy's always got something to say. One last thing. I know we're getting down to the wire. There's a couple of
Another
events.
guest in the room.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chris.
Hey.
All right, who are you? What do you do? And why do we care?
Chris is Brent Gove Property Management. Just to give you a quick update. You know, in the last 2 months, we have been intaking about 4 times the number of new clients that we've taken over the past 2 years. Usually it's like 10 a month. Now we're doing about 10 a week.
Whoa.
And that is a lot of our investors who come up and pay cash for these properties out here in West Roseville. And that's still going on a little, but of course our main new influx is sellers who can't sell a home. So if you have someone like that, give us a holler. We'll give it back to you, right, Krista?
You do. You give it back. That's right.
And so rents have gone down
He
a
likes
little
to
bit.
give referral fees to other agents in front of you though, instead of to you.
What's that?
No, I'm teasing.
I know, you're always bitching about something.
Called her out. Called her out. Everybody was thinking it. He's the only one that said it.
It was said with love.
I like to give him jabs and time. We love each other. I tell Chris I bug him all the time. Bug is the word.
But you do have a buy box, don't you? Like clients you want to work with?
What's that?
Isn't there like a certain type of property you would want to manage over others?
I don't manage the really C- class properties. I'm not going to go to Sayonara and Mensch Court and what's the other?
Del Paso Heights.
Well, yeah, mostly, it gets pretty rough out there. They're becoming unmanageable, those areas. And so, but the other thing is we are having to lower prices across the board just a little bit. Barry's going to ask what percent, okay, Barry. Just 2 or 3%. It's not a lot, but we got to.
So rents are coming down?
A little bit, yeah. And
Really?
we'll look at where.
Well, understand, supply and demand. He just said that supply was up 4 times.
Yeah,
Right?
if you look at the map of what's available, go to Zillow, for rent, and just look at the map. There's some areas, like I comped 3 properties yesterday, there's nothing around there. So we're doing, and that was like Fair Oaks. But if you go out to Natomas, oh my God, all you have is purple dots. There was like 30 rentals available, where there used to be 6 or 7, or even less, and those were on for 2 or 3 days and gone.
Yeah.
So of course we look at all those numbers, and if the average that I see is they want $24.95, I'm going to try to come in at $23.95 just to get someone to get to be looking at that property. So, yeah, but yeah, new sellers can't sell them. This is a trend we've seen over the past 30 years happen, and then it all happens, and they come back and sell the property.
And what's the phone number for your office?
Chris at redrose.com is the easiest way to reach me.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris at redrose.com.
Do you still want us referring intake for Ben, or do you like to deal with that?
I would forward that to Ben when I get that. Yeah, Ben is my son, and he's handling most of the intake, but honestly, the last couple of months, he's so overwhelmed. I've been out there in the field working with, I know.
Oh gosh.
And if you do have those properties in the hood, I'll take those. So the ones that he turns you down, I'll go ahead and take them. That's no problem for me.
I'll take the hood property.
I wanted to share this video with you all real quick. This is builds coming up, and we had, anyways, I'll let him.
Listen, I had a great time with you last year, and I'm excited that you invited me back. I'm coming for your build event this year, Dallas, Texas, August 23rd through the 25th. Now listen, there's no secret there are big changes that are happening in the real estate market right now. And if you listen to Warren Buffett, every year he does this talk, and this year the whole talk was about inflation, right? He has a couple of real estate companies, as I'm sure you know, and some companies that build real estate, build homes as well. Wood was up, lumber was up, 300%, triple the price point. Fuel is up 40%. We all know what's happened to interest rates. You know where things are going. So how do you navigate this environment? That's what we're here to talk about, the real tools to make that work. And I'll give you a little clue. When they asked, what do you do in an inflation environment like this? And Warren was saying the most important thing you do is invest in yourself, meaning to invest in the skills that are going to make you superior in a competitive marketplace. Look, when interest rates are low and everything's just flowing easily, everybody can make money. And you know, I've watched over the decades since I've been doing this here. This is going to be my 45th year doing this, believe it or not. I started when I was 2, of course. But hear me sincerely. I've watched markets go up and down. I've watched inflation. I've watched us be in a position where interest rates exploded up and exploded down. And the people that are most successful will succeed in any environment. But they've got to make the investments in their own psychology and their own skills. They have to know what to do to thrive when everybody else is not emotionally fit enough to find the real answers. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm looking forward to being with you. Click below on the link below. I think it's buildevent22.com and secure your spot. And let you and I take things to the next level. I'll see you then.
All right, so we got build coming up. Shoot, that always happens to me.
Yeah, that's on my Facebook too. I have it not off of YouTube, right? So it has a direct link. If you want to go onto mine, you can always just sit there and click share. If you want to share it with everyone, if you're trying to get people to come, this is one of the best recruiting events ever. I mean, these are the people that we've had people with hundreds and hundreds of people in their brokerages bring their entire brokerages over off of these type of events.
100%. You want to go, you 100% want to go, so go to build22.com. We got Get Results coming up August 18th. That's going to be a fantastic panel with local top producers. Of course, we have the Made for More Mixer happening September 1st, but tonight, this is probably like literally the Mac Daddy of all events. It's Aloha Nights. It's back, guys. I don't know if you knew this. I didn't. I just found out like 2 days ago. So it's tonight, 5:30 to 9:30 over at Thunder Valley.
VIP tickets are sold out.
VIP tickets are sold out, but some of us have them.
So anyways,
but it's their largest.
What are you saying, Jim?
I'll put it in the.
Just means I give them the.
I'll put it in the
Thing
chat.
is, like, you're sneaking me in a VIP, right? I'm like, you realize last year we sat in the VIP and we didn't have VIP tickets. It's not that hard. It's their largest fundraiser of the year,
Yes,
and
what?
they haven't been able to do it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's a blast. It's a good mixing, talking to other people. Listening to people talk trash about Barry and tell stories.
It's gonna be awesome. Look at the top two sponsors. We got Chris Okamura and Turner DeMarco Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a fourth? I thought there was a fourth one.
Turner DeMarco Friedman. It's just 3.
Okay. Well, maybe I've seen the future. All right, all that's it. Okay.
We have a new agent in the room.
Oh.
EXP. Can we just say hi to Grady? He's come to a couple meetings.
He's looking sharp.
Fantastic.
And then, if we're introducing new agents, this is Christian McFarland. I almost said Chris, but he's also new to EXP.
No. And I know there's one more.
And we have Amanda as well. She's signing up today.
All right.
All right, all. Well, go forth, be productive, and have a fantastic week. Take care.